We have Jen and Ducho from Sapori di Casa, and Jen and Ducho were in the class last fall. So relatively new, but they're great business, and they got off the ground, and we're happy to have them. So welcome, Jen.
Thank you.
So why don't you tell us about what your products are and where you're selling?
Okay, so we have Italian pasta sauces. They're all tomato-based, and we are selling currently at 6 New Seasons and then 2 Green Zebras, which are, one is in the Lloyd district and the other in Kenton, which is kind of Lombard Street, North Portland.
And then also the markets?
Yes, and so we are done with our market season. That's why it's, so we're done with the markets for now, but we did the farmers markets from April to about August, So
when you guys started the class, you came in with Ducho's family recipes and had plans for fresh refrigerated sauces.
We
Can you talk about that journey to what you are doing now?
Yeah, so like she said, we started with the refrigerated sauces, and at the farmers markets we do a fresh pesto and a meat sauce. We just couldn't find a way to keep the pesto the way we wanted to and be able to sell it at New Seasons because the shelf life is so short. And then the meat sauce you cannot sell retail or wholesale. You have to sell it retail because of the USDA laws and such. But so these 3, it was kind of a roller coaster figuring out what we were going to do. At first we were going to do the fresh, about a 30-day shelf life, and then we were going to make it ourselves. We had a kitchen all lined up, and we were ready to go, and I got pregnant with our 3rd child, and we decided that we weren't going to want to be spending so much time in the kitchen, that we thought that our time would be better spent elsewhere, demoing, doing the office work and that thing. So we found a co-packer. We used Dundee Fruit Company out in McMinnville. They've been wonderful to work with, and it's really been great to have used them and that we used a co-packer. It's been a really good experience.
So when you're doing the farmers market season, you're doing, it seems like kind of 2 businesses. You're running, you have your co-packed business that you're selling retail, and you're also producing your fresh products that you're selling to farmers market. Do you look at those as kind of 2 separate businesses?
You know, I hadn't in the past, just because we also do sell these, so it does take more time, obviously. The meat sauce, the nice thing is it's frozen, so we can make a big batch and keep it for a month. The pesto needs to be made. We were doing, at one point, 3 markets a week, and we'd have to make the pesto 3 times a week, you know, right? Either the morning of, depending on what time the market was, either the morning of or the afternoon before.
So storage is something that comes up in our class, and like finding the right storage and the right price and like the flexibility and location. What are you using for storage?
So we actually lucked out. So we live down in Tualatin, and we had the same issue. We found an office space. It's 10 by 12 in Wilsonville, which is 10 minutes from our house, not even. And we pay $375 a month for this, and we had the ODA come out and they approved it. We have a refrigerator in there where we can store, it's like a freezer and a refrigerator where we can store the meat sauce and the pesto and, you know, the cheese and the basil, and store everything there. And then it's also nice to have a place to put our stock because we still self-distribute. So we'll run down to McMinnville and get a carload, and then we have somewhere where we can store it. So
you're distributing to all the New Seasons markets and Green Seasons?
Yeah, not me personally, but that's his job.
Okay, so we always talk about figuring in distribution into your cost of goods. Do you see? Because I think that's probably at the 20% that we talk about, or?
Yeah, it's about at 20% right now. Yeah.
And at what point do you think you'll go to a distributor or maybe Beeline or?
Beeline we might go to sooner. We're hoping to get in. We've added another new season. We started with 5, so now we're at 6. You know, and slowly I have been, when we went to the meeting, they asked if we wanted to be in all 18, and we were kind of hesitant to do that right off the bat. I'd rather not get ahead of ourselves and you know, not bite off more than we can chew, I guess you can say in this class. So yeah, anyways, but I think maybe if we get into a few more new seasons, we might go to Beeline, or you know, when it just becomes too much for him, I think, to do, we would consider a distributor. But for now, it's working.
Yeah.
So
you know, you've been not even in business for a year, almost a year. What has changed as far as like what you thought it was going to be from when you started the class or finished the class to now? What's the biggest surprises? I
don't know. I think doing this class helped a lot. I don't think that there has been a huge surprise, not for me personally anyways. I don't know if he has something to add to that, but yeah, I haven't been too surprised by anything. So okay. yeah.
Where we also talk about the farmers market supporting retail, do you find that to be true? And
yes.
Do you pick your markets based on where you're selling retail?
Well, we started the farmers markets before we actually started selling to new seasons, because we did the meeting in December, but we kind of reevaluated everything, and we were going to do the fresh part. When we met with new seasons the first time, we went with a fresh product, and then after deciding to go with a co-packer, it took a while. It took several months to get everything in order. You know, you have to go out and meet with the co-packer, and you have to find all of the ingredients in much larger bulk, because we were going to be making small batches, and we made like 120-gallon batches of each sauce. So it took a while, and then I think in May we met with new seasons again, and so we've only been in new seasons since June. It wasn't something that happened right away. So
can you talk about your demo schedule that you do?
Yeah. So he does, I think, like 2 to 3 demos a week usually. Wow. So and then some stores, you kind of have to ask what time is good for what store, and I've noticed with new seasons that it's usually like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 11 to 2 or 3 to 6, or Saturday and Sunday anytime is kind of there, seems to be, at least the stores we're in. So I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Demos, if you end up being in new season or any other store, they're pretty much required. You have to, and it's actually, they're beneficial for you, because you put your product over there, you're the person who's making the product, and the customer really like it, really get focused on you when they find out that you're the person who's making the product. They're helpful. It doesn't matter. Sometimes you end up like not selling a lot that day, but you're definitely improving the sales, because when in our case, then pasta sauce, if they're looking for a pasta sauce, they're like, oh yeah, I tried that one, I like it. I'm gonna buy this time instead of buying the other one and usually buy normally. I like demos. They're quite interesting. You'll find out, and they're quite interesting, engaging with customers. It's a fun experience to do.
So the two of you are a partnership.
Yeah.
You started this venture together, and you're raising a family, and you have a lot of other responsibilities, because you were doing catering, you have kids, coaching. How do you guys manage all of this, and how do you determine, you know, divide and conquer? Who's doing what?
We kind of have decided that the things that are outside of the house are his, and the things that I can do from home are mine. So emails, setting up, I set up all the demos. I'm always the one that's in contact with the co-packer. If I'm research, like we had sauce when we made we used a tomato sauce and it came in cans. And that didn't work. It just took too long. So I had to research another way to find the sauce or find a frozen basil that was already chopped. And so we didn't, so those things are mine. And then he.
I'm the person who goes on the field.
Yeah.
The distribution.
Yeah.
Like they were saying before. We get orders and try to squeeze the orders all together. Like in a day, I try to deliver to all the stores we need to deliver instead of going like one day there, one day on the other side. We find out that timing is very important when you have a family. Sometimes you have a full-time job too. That's her part, but like most likely if she has to send 5 emails and make 3 phone calls, she tries to squeeze everything in like 15 minutes. Because we have a newborn, we have 2 other kids, and try to manage everything. It's about like it's everything about timing. You'll find out when people see you as a person who works for yourself, it's like, oh yeah, you don't do anything the whole day. Not true. It's timing. Try to squeeze everything as much as you can. Instead of like taking like 3 hours to send those 5 emails, do it in like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you have 2 hours and 45 minutes to do the rest of the stuff that you want to do. Some of you will be full-time working. For us, it's like raising a family. I coach and all these kind of things. Timing. Squeeze everything in.
Have you guys discussed your long-term goals and/or exit strategy?
We kind of joke about it sometimes. Like for $1 million we do it. We'd sell it. But I don't know. At this point, we're in it for the long haul. This is what we love, and we are really proud of the product. And so for now, I never say never, but. Do
you have expansion goals or?
Yeah, but slowly. Once again, I don't want to. I don't know. I just. I'm more cautious that way, I guess. It's just, and we have agreed on that.
Like take a step by step, baby steps. We call it baby steps. I mean, it would be nice to be like more like a regional area, but we talk about it, and we know other people like us, and they're in the Seattle area, and they ask us, "Do you want? I'll introduce you to, all these new stores and stuff like this." It will be it's tempting, but we're not there yet. We need to establish ourselves first. It's been probably like
4 months, 5 months.
So then we are on the market. It's doing very well for us, but little steps.
So, as you remember in the class, we talk and go over cost of goods, making sure you have really good numbers all the time. Do you find yourself looking back at those cost of goods, as you make each decision? Is it something that you have changed after you started business?
A little. It's a little complicated too, because we had. So I don't go back too often because we make such big batches. It's a 2-year shelf life. So, I'll kind of go and revisit it before we're going to make another batch, a couple months before, because it takes a while to kind of figure everything out. But just because something is cheaper to buy doesn't mean that it's going to be cheaper at the end of the day. Just because, like the tomato sauce we bought, we found the cheapest way was in the cans. Well, it took them forever to open the cans, dump them out. You have to scrape it out. And so it was really expensive for us, labor-wise. And so we were able to find a different way of doing it where the sauce wasn't quite as cheap, but it's going to save us a lot of money, labor, talking about the labor and the co-packer. Or same thing with the basil. We found a frozen basil that's already chopped that's a little more expensive than buying it fresh, but we don't have to sit there and chop the basil, and help the co-packer out. So,
Obviously, the tomato sauce category.
Yes.
Pasta sauce is a very saturated
Yes.
category. You know, and so that wasn't enough to discourage you, right? You know, you knew it was a saturated category going into it,
Yeah.
and you still decided to you know, whether it was wearing blinders and saying we just believe in our product, or did you find yourself more just aware of the whole category and kind of found your place within the category? How did you not let that intimidation, I would say, of being in such a saturated category allow, you know, get in the way of you moving forward? And how has that affected maybe how you decide on your pricing, and how you decide on who was a potential fit for you as far as a retail customer, or even just how you pitch the product at the farmer's market? You know, maybe just kind of speak to that for other folks that might have a product that's also in what might be a saturated category, but still believe in moving forward and believe in their product.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it for us too is whenever we don't buy store-bought pasta sauces, just because we can make them at home and it's really easy to make, for us anyways. But we look, every once in a while we go through the aisle or it's next to the pasta and you happen to see it, and our biggest thing was, that's not Italian. No one in Italy would eat that, or that sort of thing. So ours, we wanted to have something that was really authentic Italian. And so although we are in the same category, we still find ourselves, we think at least, that we're different because it really is something that you would find in Italy. And
it's more like we truly believe on the product we have. You need to believe that what you're making, it's better than everything else in the market, and you need to taste it. We have given away, I don't know how many jars of product, and before we actually went out and sell our stuff. So researching, I don't know how many people had tried our sauces before. They were happy, and that's where we start to even believe even more than we could be in that market, even though we know it. And like, you walk on an aisle and you see red, like for like half of the aisle. That's all pasta sauces. Authenticity, like she was saying. Explain to people, that's, if I go home tonight and I want to make like a pomodoro e basilico, the ingredients on the back, that's what I want to use. Exactly that for my kids. Nothing more, nothing less.
A huge thing for us too is we don't add sugar to ours, and it's really hard to find a pasta sauce that does not have sugar in it. Just because of the food science, I guess, they often add sugar. So, and people seem to really take to that. They really like that. So, and then another thing too is the 16-ounce jar. That kind of sets us apart. Most of them are 24 ounces, and we went with the 16 because people kept telling us that they'll use the sauce and then they'll have a little bit left in the jar and it'll end up in the refrigerator and then it gets thrown away. So, and the 16 ounce is perfect for a pound of pasta, we found. So.
Can you tell us about the 3 shelf-stable flavors that you have, like the names and the stories that kind of go with them?
You go ahead. You can do that.
To change. So this one right here will be the pomodoro and basilico, tomato and basil. It's pretty basic. It's something that almost everyone in Italy knows how to do it. And it's a kind of like, it's a sauce then like we find out, especially on farmers market, that lots of people use as a pizza base because it's so simple. Then they just use it as a pizza base. I think it's a great sauce if you want to add something of yours in it, because it's tomato and basil. There's numbers on the jar. There's small numbers over there. This one, it's number 26. So in Italy, we celebrate name base. And so we had an empty space here. So what are we gonna do? And we decided to put like, each jar is different, has a different number. And each day it's a saint. It's the name of someone in my family. In this case, it's 26. It's my mom and our middle daughter. That's her saint day. The next one, it's a Mediterranean. We struggle with the name because the reality it's called Ferdinando II, and this one is my grandfather's recipe. We wanted to do something for him. He only passed this recipe to my dad and myself, and we decided why not. It's a little bit more complicated as a sauce because there's lots of veggies inside, and some of them people are like a little bit scared until they try it because it has eggplants, peas, and mushroom, and you know. But yeah, and this one will be number 22, which is
Maddalena.
our oldest one. The last one was it's called carrettiera. Carrettiera, the word in Italy for cards, it's carro. So this pasta is typical from Florence, Italy, and was born from the people who used to pull and push carts from markets. It was easy to make at night when they were tired, and that's what it is. It's basically it's a spicy garlic one with some parsley, and it's the one we have over there for you guys to try. And it just came out one night. We were talking with my parents, and they were like, "Why don't you make the carrettiera?" And I almost forgot about it until in the United States. But it was fun, and we're like, "Yeah, we can try that one." And actually, it turned out to be very good. It's a very good sale for us. Will be number 6. That'll be me.
A question about farmers market. So you guys and Kemper's do the farmers market. I'm curious about like specifics. Are there certain markets you think have been more profitable for you? Are there other markets that like, maybe you don't go to anymore? Are there certain days of the week that are more exciting? The customers are, it's more a more popular market. I'd like to know more about that.
Yeah, so the 3 markets we did were, well, we started with 4 first. We did Tigard Farmers Market, Bridgeport Farmers Market, Wilsonville Farmers Market, and then Aranco Station in Hillsborough. Partway through, we actually pulled out of Tigard because it just wasn't worth our time to be there. And then in Bridgeport was kind of hard. It's just a hard area. Parking's bad. It was on a Wednesday evening. Yeah.
If you're not familiar with the area, Bridgeport Village, it's a shopping mall area. It's kind of hard because people go over there to go shopping. They already know why they go there, or to go to the movie. And having a farmer market over there was like, yeah, they come through, they sample the product, but they just
a lot
keep going. Yeah, there's a lot going out and not a lot coming in.
Yeah,
and also it's what was one cost effective. You got to check out how much is the market, how much will the fee for the market.
Yeah.
In the specific, Bridgeport was 3 times more than
2.5 times. Yeah.
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 Yes, it depends on the product you have. You may want to choose farmers market, or they are in the morning or in the evenings. It really depends. I don't know what your product is, but for us, especially in Tigard, we struggle a little bit to have people try pasta sauce at 9 o'clock in the morning. Wasn't a problem in Wilsonville because it was 4 in the afternoon.
Wilsonville was a good market for us. It's in the afternoon. They have wine, they have beer, there's food, families come. I don't know. It's called Villa Bois is the area, and so it's all kinds of houses around. You know, there's a park, and there's some businesses, and so people there are used to just walking out of their house and walking around, and so that was a good market for us. And then the Aranco Station one was as well. The one note I will say that we noticed with the farmers markets is there's kind of like a big boom at the beginning of the season, and then it kind of levels off, and then it kind of dies down a little bit. I think just after the rain, all winter long, people will do anything to get out of their house, and so they go to a farmer's market. And by the end of the summer, it's just like the novelty's worn off, and so there's just not as many people there. I mean, they were still, the Renko Station and Wilsonboro were still good markets. I don't know if part of it was we didn't have a good summer. It rained a bunch of Thursdays for you know, and so
markets, basically. But yeah, per talking to customers, the idea is like, yeah, they like it at the beginning, the first couple months, 2 or 3 months, but then like it's kind of like goes away as soon, almost as soon like summer ends and the school starts. It's like
yeah.
And do you see yourself continuing with the markets if the retail side keeps heating up?
It depends. Depends where we are at in February or March. Again, little steps. I don't know how many stores will be by that time, and maybe, but be a little bit more selective. Now that we know, we won't sign up for a certain market compared to like maybe Villebois was nice, Wilsonville or Renko Station. But again, the more store you get in, the more demos you have to do. So you have to balance that one too.
Yes.
When we started doing the farmers market, we only had like the 5 new seasons. So it was kind of like an easy going. As right now, just only having like 3 more stores. The squeezing time in, I do like 2 to 3 demos a week. You can figure it out putting 2 markets out and have to make fresh sauces too. It gets a little bit tied up.
Do you have plans to bring your fresh products to market, to the retail markets? Do you have like a long-term plan?
So
Not really.
I had a nice conversation with a store manager at Renko Station, and he was telling me about like these things that they're doing right now. Basically, it's a small business helping each other. Like I have the what's it called, the truck, the fridge truck, whatever it's called.
The refrigerated truck, yeah.
Truck. So you pay a small fee, and they will come, take it from you, and deliver. In that case, it would be interesting, but it's the shelf life then. Our pesto, it's like 7 days, and she knows better than me how that works with the fresh product. On that one.
And then you get into guaranteed sales, and I don't really want to mess with that right now. Maybe someday, but
that's probably why we switched from.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you also about distribution, and currently, and how you handle, distribution to the stores. If you're self-distributing, if you are self-distributing, did you also, in your cost of goods sold, already build in the cost of outsourcing your distribution, so that when you do that, you don't see a huge spike in your expenses?
Yeah, so that's her field.
Yes.
I know. Then when it comes to the physical part, I guess.
So logistics, like the physical, actually doing distribution, showing up, and do you find yourself having to distribute to Happy Valley on the same day that you're going out to Hillsborough, and whatever you just made on 2 cases of sauce you just spent on gas? How does what's the real world of distribution?
Okay, I kind of like it because sit in the car, drive around, listen to music. It feels like working for me. The 2 cases, the 1 cases, you're right, but again, we'll try like to, for example, if I have to distribute something at Cedar Hills, we call Progress Ridge, because they're like 10 minutes apart, and see if they need it too. So at that day, like I may do like those 2 and a Renko Station. So I can like
So there's a strategy behind.
Yes, yes, there is always a strategy. If I do Happy Valley, I may the same day do Mountain Park, which is in Lake Oswego, and Nyberg Rivers, which is in Tualatin. So cover that area. It's unlikely, never done yet, never say never. Then I'm going from Happy Valley to a Renko Station. It'll take me like probably a day. But no, it's planning ahead of time. I know sometimes I stress her out. Like, call them. I have to deliver tomorrow. Why don't you call them and see if the store nearby needed something? So I'm on on the way, and then like 2 days later they called us, oh, we need this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's planning ahead of time. Most of everything is planning ahead of time.
And is your slice that you get back from the grocery store enough to make it all worth your while?
That's the boss.
Yes and no. At this point, I think part of it is just an investment of getting a business off the ground. So I can see that it will be someday. There's just like a lot of little things that, because we're a new business, the money, rather than going in the savings account, is going to buy, I can't even think of an example right now, but you know, it's just, it will be. I can see that it will be, yeah. Especially, I've found a lot of ways to lower our cost. So the next time we do a run at the co-packer, we'll keep the same price, but our margin is going to be a lot higher. So, yeah.
Can you talk to the class about your new season's evaluation, like how you felt when you went in, what really happened?
Yeah.
You know, what their reaction was.
The first or the second?
Oh, the first one.
Okay. They're so nice. They really are. There's nothing to be nervous about. They're not gonna like slam you with questions, or you know, they want to know about the product, but they're human beings that are talking to another human being about so
They're actually pretty excited when you walk in with your product. I mean, they're super excited. They want to know everything about it. When we did ours, there was 4 of them inside, right? And we only knew it, Chris, yeah. The other 3, they were like super excited. They want to know everything about it, the story behind who you are, why you end up doing this, what you do for a living, do you have your family and stuff like that. And it becomes like a normal conversation, like you're talking to like a friend or something like that. They try your product. There's honestly, it's interesting. At least for us, there was 0 stress in their room. Totally 0.
Yeah. And I think part of it is too because no one knows your product better than you do, and so there's really nothing to study or prepare. I mean, you need to prepare and have an idea, but you already know the answer because you've been living it for, you know, at least this term that you've been here. At least that was the case for us. I mean, this was...
It was great.
So.
Honestly, it was a great experience. The first one and the second one too. When we went with the shelf stable, it was absolutely fine. They're very nice.
And how did you get the second one? Because you didn't. You had the first meeting and you weren't. Did you go into to the store?
So we had the first meeting, and then
with your fresh product.
With the fresh product. And then we decided we were gonna go the shelf stable. And after the meeting, they're like, okay, you know, let us, you know, we would like to hear back from you if you're interested, or. And so I sent an email and then to Chris, and I didn't hear back, but I guess there was some problem with his email or something, I don't remember. But and then, sorry, I'm kind of losing my train of thought.
You contacted me and I helped set it up.
By the way, they're always helpful.
Yeah, a lot of times you'll go through the new season's presentation and they'll offer feedback and say, you know what, if you make these changes, we'll revisit your product. And so they went back and they made the changes, and in this case, we were able to facilitate a follow-up meeting. Really, the responsibility of facilitating that follow-up meeting is really on you. You know, it's really on those. But if you know, and you know, it's funny. I'm sure he had problems with his email. But getting people to respond to emails, voicemails. You know, really takes persistence. You know, to get that.
One thing to keep in mind: don't get offended. They are busy, so if they don't answer, it's not because they want to be mean. That's what we thought at the beginning, but then you learn that they are busy. I mean, we are not the only one who send them emails. They probably receive like thousands of emails a day, going through all of that, going through products. New products and stuff like this, it's a lot for them on their hand too. So keep trying.
And another
Yeah.
thing too is after we had the second meeting, Jill had suggested that I fill out all of the online paperwork for the new vendors and bring it. So I did that and I brought it, and they were interested, and he was like, okay, can you send this to me? So I went home that afternoon, I sent it to him, and I didn't hear back. I didn't hear back. I didn't hear back. And so like after a week, I called him and left a voicemail. I was like, hey, it's Jen from Sapori di Casa, just checking in. I got a call back from him. He never got my email. So I looked back, I missed a letter in his email address, and it didn't come back. Usually if the email address is wrong, you get a notification that it didn't go through. Well, somehow it went through. I don't know to who, but so then I sent him the information like the next hour or something like that, and we delivered 2 days later.
Yeah.
So it's, you know,
Persistence is
yeah.
something you have to have in
Yeah.
this industry, and it's not just with the buyers, but when you're trying to get suppliers,
Yep.
packaging, just anybody to talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, once
Yeah.
again,
Your
I mean,
glass jars from?
Actually, it's really nice because through the co-packer, we get them directly from the co-packer, and they're like 50 cents cheaper at the co-packer because, I mean, like a huge difference.
and we actually are the first one we choose.
Yeah,
We
they're-
had to switch with something else because through another company to buy those one we had to buy
Like 70,000 or
70,000.
something. So
And, like
yeah.
not happening. So
Yeah.
we switched with something else. And when we went to the co-packer, we were like, "Ooh, those are the jars then we like."
Yeah.
So it was.
When
Yeah.
you're researching suppliers, did
Mhm.
you just kind of do it online? Is it word of mouth? Is it?
Online, and then also actually the co-packer was really helpful and gave us some names of different suppliers, and then of course it's on you to contact them, but yeah. And then the suppliers tend to be pretty easygoing about sending samples. Like I called about the basil again, and they sent like this huge box, and there was frozen basil and there was frozen parsley, and they had some soups that they put in there, and I mean they just kind of sent it out, you know.
I mean,
So
it's business for them too. You know, you request like basil and parsley, and they throw in stuff, and it's like.
I don't even
well,
remember
let me
what
try
else
it.
was in
Yeah,
there.
Yeah, there was like
Yeah.
4 or 5 different kinds of soups, 3 different kinds of basil, 2 parsleys, and
yeah.
a bunch of other stuff. But it's again, don't get discouraged at all. If you really believe what you have, what you have in there, keep doing it. Call them, email them. Don't stalk them.
Yeah, I know there's a fine line in
That's
between,
fine.
but yeah.
But yeah.
Any final questions before we have a break? For Jen or Nujo? Well, thank you guys for coming, and let's try
Thank you
some
for
of
having
your
us.
sauces over here.